The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners. Medical House presents Bermuda's most viewed and listened to talk show. The Daily Hour starts now.
It's Wednesday, the 21st day of October. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with her Carla Zul. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, I'm not even going to repeat it today. You know what to do. Too many people not knowing what's going on because you're not letting them know what's going on. So you know what's going on. You get my point. Share the link. Another good one for you today, as we have the Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Kendaree Burgess, stopping by. So good conversation going on there. And the Daily Play is a read it, don't sing it. So Carla will be guessing the lyrics to a song. Another very easy one for her. She couldn't get the electric slide last week, folks. So I don't think that reflects her her rhythm or not. I think she has. I've seen her in the club before. She has rhythm. So don't let her trivia. What?
Out here, in the UK, they call it the oops dance. So I remember when I came and I was like, what's the oops dance? But it's something else they call it. They don't call it electric slide.
Electric boogie boogie boogie?
It's not even that song, but it's the same dance movements. It freaked me out. I was like, oh, that's the electric slide, but they call it something else. I can't remember.
Well, hopefully they call it something better than her Wi-Fi just now, folks, because she broke right up, didn't she? She pulled a Jamal Hartman just now. So look, a lot going on. I'm not going to get into the little text thing that's going on, but I did see the police commissioner's response. Let's just hope that common sense and honesty prevails in that situation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Bermuda police, I believe, released they had a press release regarding some text that was going on with the police commissioner. But what I wanted to discuss, it was an article on the Black enterprise, right? And it was a very decent article. I find most of this stuff, just to let you know, on what's that site called? LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yes, on LinkedIn. And it was speaking about, obviously, we've been talking a lot about what's it called? The redundancy, like people being made redundant and let go from their jobs. And so the title of this article was Why Everyone, Yes, You Too, Should Own a Consulting Business, right? And, I know we've been back and forth on this show about not everyone's an entrepreneur and so on. But I jotted down some things, and I was hoping that, at least we had a lot of people jobs at the big hotel up in Southampton, Vermont, Southampton. And so some of the things I was thinking about is like, okay, well, for those who don't want to be entrepreneurs or not entrepreneurs, what can they do? So I started thinking, okay, well, and work with me, Carla, because I can't find where I wrote it down to. So work with me, keep me in check. So if a bartender that was at the hotel lost their job, maybe they can go do alcohol sales or merchant for a company. If they were a housekeeper, right? Maybe they can offer their services to clean people's homes right now. You have people working from home and then dealing with children as well. So maybe guardians and parents may need additional assistance. You have people that worked in, restaurants and so on, maybe picking up a side gig with Sargasso and delivering food for the time being. So I just went on a list of different things and opportunities that could possibly open up for people who might have lost their employment during that time through redundancy. And I just used the hotel as an example. But this particular article and I'll have to share it on the Daily Hours social media pages. Basically, the first paragraph: you can't rely on an employer to control or protect your career. See that? That sentence right there sums it up. But some of the things that a doing consultancy, and I'll use you as an example. Carla always speaks about like certain things she's done PR for different people and so on. But one of the things a lot of people I didn't realize how, and I still think it's silly, is when you lose a job and you go without work for a long time, employers they frown on that. Like it's like, well, why have you been unemployed for so long? And so consultancy actually helps fill the gaps in your resume. So that was pretty cool. Like if you went to a job, Carla, and you said, okay, when was the last time you had a full-time job for someone to be like, when was the last time?
2013, I think.
All right. So between 2013 and 2020, you would be filling in consultancy jobs that you've done for people over the years, correct?
Yeah.
And
what I did, I gave myself a company name. And so that just held it.
Having some serious Wi-Fi issues this morning. Say it again.
I don't know why. No, I was saying that I gave my company a name and that stays on my resume no matter what I do on the side, and it just keeps flowing.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, and there you go. Like, I mean, it replaces the gap that so many people look at, and they pretty much it hinders them finding employment. So hopefully we can, this article, like I said, I'll share it from blackenterprise.com. It's a pretty good article, but filling the gaps and using the skills that you learned, because trust me, if you've had a job, you do have some sort of skill set that may be of benefit to someone, organization, or company. You really do. Let's go to the comments. Terry Too Cool says, I have my side businesses on my LinkedIn profile as a job employer. There you go. There you go. And she also says, I put myself as the company name on LinkedIn. And it fills gaps. And if you're doing something for someone, and I believe Terry actually does websites for people as well. Kathy Bromby says, you can be loyal to an employer, but it doesn't mean they are loyal to you. And that goes back to me speaking about the redundancies the other day, folks, in terms of being prepared for redundancy and so on. So hopefully when we share that article, it'll help some people out there. But let me ask people, do you feel confident? This is my question going out to the audience. Are you all confident enough to do consultancy on the side? I've done sales and I've done sales for quite a bit, right? I've done sales in media as well as sports and entertainment. There's consultancy gigs I can possibly do for people from a sales perspective. I can probably go to a tech company and say, here's a sales strategy so you can better meet your expectations or exceed your expectations. Here's a sales strategy so that you can go and develop into a new market or expand your demographic or your reach. So I just hope people are encouraged by, although it's hard and we keep repeating, it's extremely hard when it comes to being employed and today and then tomorrow being told you no longer have a job. But there are things, and I will continue to preach this, there are so many things that we have control over that we can do to better our situations should that day arrive, and we don't want it to come. One of the examples in this articles, it actually says a lot of stuff of what I said. Number 2 was try before you buy. Many companies use a temp to permanent strategy. So if you are doing consultancy, they may bring you on as a temporary employee, and then who knows what that may lead to. Number 3 was test the entrepreneurial waters. We've had a lot of people say, oh, everyone's not an entrepreneur. I'm not an entrepreneur. That's happened. But I think some people get intimidated by the idea of entrepreneurship. Like, oh, I'm not good at accounting or finance, so how am I going to manage this or manage that when it comes to paying taxes? There's also consultants that can do that for you. So you can focus on what you're good at and then outsource things to maybe someone else who worked at that place of employment that was made redundant that has skills in that. You can even collaborate with fellow people who've been made redundant. there's so many things, and I just hope that every last one of us can take advantage of the opportunities that present to ourselves. So again, I'll share the article on the Daily Hour social media pages, but what we're discussing right now is pretty much filling the gap. And the title of the article on blackenterprise.com is why everyone, yes, you too, should own a consulting business. So I'm going to be encouraging you all to collaborate and use your skills to your benefit going forward. Any questions? Feel free to jump in. But I think that's a place. And to carry on where Dr. David Chapman, who was just an awesome guest yesterday, one of the things that ties into what we're speaking about right now is what Dr. Chapman said yesterday. When he said, we started the show out, we spoke about without Dr. Chapman, the Daily Hour as we see it and we witness it and we partake today would not exist, right? I said that yesterday. And what I mean by that is what he does is the perfect example of what we're trying to use this show to do for every last one of you. We've had numerous entrepreneurs on. We'll have another one tomorrow. But the purpose of what we're trying to do is the same way Dr. David Chapman shared Paul Carrick-Brunson, shared Boyce Watkins, all these inspirational financial mindsets to myself and others. That's what we need to do. And so because of him, he didn't know that what he did in the past would help and create the Daily Hour, which is a morning conversation between us all. He didn't know that this is what it would lead to. But when we share the information and the education that we get, when we share this, guess what? We all win. And honestly, I want to see us all win. I really do. We can all win. Let's go to Charles. I think many are afraid of what they might be giving up, health insurance. And that's a good point, Charles. And I actually remember when I was made redundant, one of the things that struck me was, man, it's not so much the job or even the pay, it's the benefits that come with it. Paid vacation, your pension, and definitely the health insurance benefits depending on where you live. It's huge. It's huge. Kathy Brumby, yes, this is key as well. Do some volunteer work and someone will see your talents. And I used to say that when I was in college. I saw a lot of people volunteering just to put stuff on their resume. I don't go for that personally. I believe you should like I volunteered. I love football. Anyone that knows me knows I love sport, right? So I actually always volunteered as a coach. And I, for the most part, I think the young fellas benefited from me. I mean, I hope they did. When I look at them today, they look like they've done pretty well. But I would say if there's something you enjoy doing, see if it's a way you can volunteer to do it. And you never know who will be watching your talents. You never know who will recognize you for what you're doing. Amanda Kelly says, definitely agree. Set up my bookkeeping business, not a hobby, a business. Key. Tamara Richardson said, it's important to celebrate our failures. We focus so heavily on our wins, especially on social media. It gives the idea that no one fails. The most successful entrepreneurial minds had failures. My children have a safe space to talk and laugh about their fails and get comfortable knowing fail doesn't make you a failure. Well, since all things honest, I mean, folks, along with my partners, we started this business we have right now, the parent company, Bermuda Communications Group, in 2018. In 2010, I had 2 businesses. They didn't fail. They just didn't work out. So this is not my first go around at entrepreneurship, but it was definitely lessons learned back then that I understand we can't go wrong here this time. So that's why with us, our partnership includes a CPA and an MPA. So people with a background in financials and people with a background in dealing with public. And then there's little old me. Jackie Grillo, my former boss from Radio Disney. I just love her. Radio Disney, my first big opportunity, folks. Jackie Grillo over there in New York says, love, everyone should have a consulting business. Great point, Jamal. Yes, I'll push it. If there's anything I can do to ensure that we, use our skills to ensure that we're not in a place of feeling like we have nowhere to go, I'm going to push it. I'm going to push it. Mr. Talbot says every employee is a brand entrepreneur and the employer is their client. Key. I agree, sir. Don't forget, we have the Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Kendaree Burgess, coming up. We're going to have an in-depth conversation. I think Carla's back. I've been blabbing, so let me see. Carla, hey, how you doing, Carla? Welcome back. You okay? I don't know. She's got a permanent smile on, folks. She ain't saying
Yeah,
anything.
you got to do what you got to do. I'm back.
Okay, right. So this is what happens when Carla doesn't pay her Wi-Fi bill, folks. She goes on Jamel Hartman like binges and so on. One more quick comment because we have to get to your news, but I also want to know if you have anything to say on this subject, Carla. Jackie Grillo says you are a great employee and human. I'm so proud of you. And yes, you made mistakes. We laughed and learned. Thank you, boss lady. Appreciate you. Well, let me say this before we move on to you, and I'll use Jackie as an example. She was my first real boss, like first boss at Radio Disney. I had to audition to get the job and so on. The relationships you have with your employers are probably key to your development. There's times that I've written her over the years to get feedback on certain things. So I think having functional relationships with people throughout your career and keeping them going is essential to your growth and the development of your career. Carla, anything to say on this topic?
Just real quick, I concur fully with what Tammy said about giving her children a space and letting them see you fail as such, as from an entrepreneur spirit. Because I'm the same way with my eldest, especially,
Mm.
and she's my cheerleader, and I'm like, don't ever think that you can't do something. Like for me, I have transferable skills, so I can use the writing in so many different ways, and I push every single way in order to just keep going. It's not easy,
Mhm.
but the key is to know that it's a step-by-step process. 1 + 1 keeps adding up if you keep pushing.
Indeed, I agree. All right, let's get to the news, Carla, then bring our special guest in for the day. Should be an interesting news based on this text.
Almost $57 million was paid by government in assistance to more than 10,000 unemployed residents in Bermuda as the COVID-19 pandemic hit the island's workforce this year. Labor Minister Jason Hayward revealed a sharp drop in numbers for further benefits. Mr. Hayward also said a handful of residents were still on the initial 18-week unemployment benefits offered at the start of the lockdown. He added a total of 1,202 application forms for further relief had been collected so far from the Department of Financial Assistance. Mr. Hayward added that 338 of the applications had to be returned to the department and 76 people had been approved for financial assistance. A total of 73 people have been approved for the supplemental unemployment benefits. Mr. Hayward also said redundancies had hit the hospitality sector hardest, but had affected a vast variety of occupational categories. A U.S. travel personality praised the rules imposed to protect against COVID-19 on a trip to Bermuda last weekend. Evita Robinson, the founder of Nomadness Travel Tribe, added that other countries should follow the island's example. She said in a video posted to her Facebook page, which has almost 6,000 followers, "I only came because of the measures. I knew a little bit, but to actually be here in Bermuda and to see the way that they have put this forward is just like everybody needs to take a page out of their book. Absolutely everybody." Ms. Robinson highlighted that her comments were not part of a paid advert and that she was not asked to make them. In court news, the trial of the assistant director of the government's Child Protection Agency on charges she assaulted a girl in her care started recently. It was alleged in magistrate's court that Kenneth Robinson, 52, punched and choked a 17-year-old girl who refused to board a flight to a residential school in the United States in May 2019. Mrs. Robinson of the Department of Child and Family Services denied that she did this or stamped on the girl's headphones. The trial continues. Those stories were courtesy of the Royal Gazette. Reptiles are everywhere and serve an important role in the ecosystem of whatever biome they're a part of. Reactions to them range from abject terror, that's me, to an acute fascination with them, that's not me. Unsurprisingly, given that Hollywood has a tendency to lean towards the monstrous when displaying these otherwise magnificent creatures. The truth of the matter is that reptiles are a vital part of a healthy environment, with common snakes helping to keep bugs and rodents that would love to make a nest in some people's homes. Reptile Awareness Day is an excellent opportunity to educate yourself on the wonders of the scaly world and perhaps learn an appreciation for them. Turning to weather with a mix of sun and clouds and a chance of showers, Bermuda's expected high today is 80, 81 in Orlando, Florida, and 57 in Birmingham, UK. Don't forget, Medical House is your number one source of PPE supplies: masks, face shields, disinfectants, sanitizers, glove gowns, no-touch thermometers, and so much more at the lowest prices. Visit Medical House today at 22 Millreach Lane in Pembroke. Don't forget to tune in to the 4100radio.com tonight for Nighttime Jams featuring some of your favorite romantic classics. That's your Daily Hour news break.
That smile. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Chamber, Ms. Kendaree Burgess.
Good day, Medical House. Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
I found myself being a caregiver. Even though I was a nurse, I still needed help on, what was available in hospital beds and all that kind of equipment, and I knew where to go. I went to Medical House.
Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
I was very pleased with Medical House and the help they gave me when I most needed it.
Your experience with Medical House is about getting your needs met, but we also try to provide knowledge to help you through whatever you're experiencing.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there is private parking right outside the door.
I would recommend them to anybody.
Call or visit Medical House today.
We're constantly impressed by the innovative work of the whole food industry, seeking new sources for gluten-free versions of our favorite traditional foods. Miracle Noodle makes authentic, delicious pastas from the konjac plant traditionally used in Japan for the manufacture of grain-free noodles. And they've diversified, offering miscellaneous good eats for the gluten-sensitive. We're featuring Miracle Noodle spinach angel hair and 95% organic fettuccine noodles, shirataki rice, pho and pad thai ready-to-eat meals, and chicken and beef bone broth. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back to the big show. It's the Daily Hour. Carla Zul, myself, Jamel Hartman. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's, channel 82, where you can also watch this show if you know someone who doesn't have internet access. So thanks again to everyone at Crimson Multimedia for ensuring that we can make that happen. Obviously, we're still available throughout social media on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Ms. Kendaree Burgess, the Chief Executive Officer at the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Good morning. Hello to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming. Sometimes we have people that are in different time zones, right? So I always say to people who are in Bermuda or the US, thank you so much for making yourself available this early in the morning. So we appreciate you for doing that already. But let's jump right to it. This quite the year, right? What are some of the lessons that are being learned right now from this COVID pandemic for you and your team at the Chamber?
Lessons. Well, I think the biggest lesson that we can learn from this is the power of communication. We, like many people in the world, went into lockdown, and everything we did was based on having information sent to us, received by us, and processed by us. So communication would be one of the big lessons. Flexibility, ability to adapt, those are huge lessons. I don't think that there really is an industry that hasn't changed since COVID-19. People have had to be flexible. That's true. I think people see that in evidence. Let's take retail. Prior to COVID-19, we didn't have the majority of businesses online, on social. During COVID-19 and right after, I think you saw most people make that move to online, curbside. Flexibility is huge.
Ms. Burgess, how has the Chamber kept its members encouraged during these challenging times when spending has slowed down so much on the island?
Encouraged, well, informed, I think is how we encourage them. During the start of the lockdown, the chamber put out an information sheet to its members every single day. So in the period of March 1st to July 31st, there are 150 days. I think we put out information 70 something days. So every other day, practically, we were listening to the press conferences, talking to the ministers that had the authority or the civil servants. What are the changes in your industry? What do you need to know? What are the health requirements? And as you will know, those change daily, if not weekly. And so we really focused on making sure that our people had the most up-to-date information, that they could write to us, call us, communicate with us, ask us what that meant for them. It was difficult. We were, I think, alone in some places, but a trusted voice out there, day, nights, weekends, where our members could ask people what it meant for them. And sometimes we just had to listen. When people's businesses are shipwrecking and they've spent their whole life developing it, I think it's emotional. And so some of that was emotional support. We've luckily transitioned a bit from the crisis to really trying to figure out how to not just operate, but succeed in this environment. So yeah, we just need and want to be there for our members.
Now, a recent survey which was published in September, the results, it revealed that 6 in 10 businesses in Bermuda have now reopened. But of all businesses, approximately 8% didn't. Are there any indicators to show that these businesses were perhaps on trail to close before the pandemic, or are they directly attributed to closing because of the pandemic?
Carla, it's hard to say, but it's likely a little bit of both. There are businesses that were struggling and have been struggling for a while. Those businesses probably were the early casualties of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are some that didn't make it directly because of the pandemic. And I can think of some industries that would have been dependent, let's say, on tourism. Those businesses may not have been able to sustain themselves in that industry. Really, the season would go from April, May to September, October. And after a long, dry winter, they just couldn't face a winter again. And they were closed. And we don't really know when the season will start for them again, although there is hope in the cruise ship industry. There's hope with people traveling again, but again, we're dependent on outside forces for that.
Now, tomorrow, the Chamber will be hosting an online presentation, Building Your Remote Work Muscle. Although there are relatively few cases on the island, do you think that more people will stay within this new norm of working remotely from home?
There was a time when I think we all thought it was almost impossible. We've learned that many people can work from home and that they are as productive, in some cases more productive, when they work from home. So I don't know if it will stay that way, but I accept that there will be more flexibility when people want to or need to work from home. By the same token, I expect that there are businesses out there that have noticed that their employees are as productive and they're looking at ways to cut costs because they aren't at 100%, and they're probably looking at rents Do I need this large corner space in a great big building? Can I reduce some of those costs and keep the business going, keep my employees at work? These are the decisions people are making.
It's interesting you mentioned rents, because I actually I do a thing where I take some notes as we're talking, and I wanted to see, I'm on LinkedIn often, and I'm reading different articles of how, I can't remember, is it Deloitte? Someone is closing down 4 of their offices in the UK. I read it this week, and I just wanted to see if you think this will impact Bermuda greatly, especially in the city of Hamilton. Any note that it may?
It is already impacting us. We are not 100% back to work. And for all those people that used to work in Hamilton, I know that retail and restaurants are still impacted by those people working from home. Some people are doing kind of on, X days on, X days out of the office, or keeping the numbers at 20 or 30 or 40%. The cafes, the stores, the restaurants, the dry cleaner all depend on people coming into Hamilton and availing themselves of those services. If more people work from home, then the numbers are necessarily down. I heard the head of retail say that the shopping patterns have changed. And that would be that usually there would be a lot of shopping during the week. That's changed to Saturdays. And she attributed that to people working from home, not in town every day, so that they're having to come into Hamilton on Saturdays, so that they can get whatever shopping they need done. But by the same token, the some of the businesses that are outside the city are reporting higher than usual numbers during the week. So it's a redistribution of how we live and work.
Indeed, indeed. I want to go back to Carla, asking about the whole work from home. And by the way, folks, if you have any questions or comments for Ms. Burgess, feel free to let them flow. Carla mentioned the people working from home, and it's going to grow. Bermuda is currently offering a certificate to work from Bermuda. How great is that for our economy?
Well, it's definitely a boon or a boost for the economy if we can have bodies on island that aren't dependent on our social services, that are contributing. So they're renting homes. All of those Airbnbs that are empty might look at offering those to these digital nomads. Some of those people will bring their children with them, so they'll need various services. There's groceries. There's all the usual services you would have if you lived here, but they aren't dependent on our social services. So they're contributing, and that I think is what's counting. I think I heard that there were over, I can't remember how many hundred, 200 or 300 people who had applied. I don't know how many people have actually arrived on island, but I think it's an opportunity for us. The other question is, do these people, once they get here, given that perhaps where they come from may not be as safe as they are, do they want to permanently or open a side of their business here and hire Bermudians? There may be some opportunity in that. We don't know.
Indeed, I definitely agree. Possibly. Go ahead, Carla.
So, Ms. Burgess, are you saying that maybe, because initially they said, for the most part, it's a firm 1 year, and perhaps they'd look at extending it. Do you think that this is a program that should be rolling in Bermuda for the economy's sake?
Well, Carla, I'm certainly not in government or a policymaker, but I think we'll have to look at that a little further down the road. I think it makes sense to initially put some sort of cap or control on that, and then just look at it as it goes on. If we are able to recover sooner, if the economic engine starts up, then maybe we would make a different decision. But it's not a decision that should be made before we even get that off the ground and running.
The opportunities are definitely there, but I agree. We have to see how it works out, how what it looks like, 6 to 12 months from now before we jump on that. Sean Smith says, would have business interruption insurance have assisted a business through a time like this?
I really don't know that answer. I don't know whether a pandemic was an insured peril. And I guess if it was on your policy, then perhaps. I think that's a question perhaps for your carrier.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. What can Bermudians? I mean, obviously, I'm in South Florida, and a lot of things being, we've been impacted greatly by this in terms of tourism and cruise ships over this part of the world, like Bermuda. But obviously, it's a big, Disney's had to lay a bunch of people off as well. But what can Bermudians do in Bermuda to ensure that the economy is able to bounce back?
Well, there are several contributors to the economy, and small business is one of the engines that get the economy going. I heard you speaking earlier about everyone should have, my words, the ability to have a side business. I think that's right. I think in any crisis, out of those ashes, small businesses will rise, and they are usually the first people to hire someone. I have a young man that I've recently hired. He has a business landscaping. He's just taken on his first employee. Now that I don't know where he found that person, but they were obviously unemployed. And so these are some of the ways that we get the economy working, is to actually start businesses, hire people, put people back to work. But there's opportunities in, I think, moving forward. What will the world look like in 2021 and 22? And the other answer to that is training and preparing for the world that's coming up, not the world behind you. And so I think there are opportunities for people to go about getting the skill sets, the talents, the training that they need so that they can operate in the world moving forward. Artificial intelligence is going to be part of our new world. Machine learning, computer assisted, all sorts of technological opportunities are out there. But if you're not that way inclined, there are other opportunities out there. Food sustainability, farming, even that's gone high tech with all the sort of, I'm going to call them ponics, whether it's hydroponics, aquaponics. We're not really talking about sun hats and hose. Really, we're talking about closed environments where plants are in a lab and fed nutrients. So there's plenty of I think opportunities if people are willing to, and I go to one of the points you made before. Not everyone has the ability or the want to start a business, but we all have the ability and the want to support ourselves. So we all have a part to play in that.
Indeed. I actually watched a 15-minute video yesterday. You sounded just like her. Mia Motley of Barbados. And I would listen to that 15 minutes over and over and over, because what she was saying is, basically the Caribbean has been so reliant on tourism and pretty much hadn't evolved much. And right now, more than ever, with what's going on, it's time to evolve. It's time to let people know it's not just Africa and Asia that are new markets that we should be considering. We have enough intellectual capacity in the West Indies, she was saying. And so when you said that, it took me back to when Steve Perry was in Bermuda in 2009, I believe. And he said during his conversation, and Steve Perry is a contributor to CNN, folks. He's an educator, has a charter school, I believe, up in Connecticut. But he said that one of the things that we need to do, and you kind of said it just now, is we need to prepare our children for things that don't yet exist. So when you said just now, we need to look at what the world's gonna look like, not what it did look like. I think everyone needs to take heed of that, because even as we're, currently people are in college and they'll be finishing school, other skills are going to still be necessary in the next few years. I think Craig Simmons even said that when he was on recently, and I'm noticing a trend with all of you that are coming on. It's a consistency in that area. So I really hope that the audience digests what's being said when you all offer this, because it's free advice that is extremely helpful. And I really, really thank you for doing this and sharing that. Is there anything else you would tell someone, a small business? Let's say we've had people who, without giving too much away, we've had people in the tourism industry, for instance, that's been slammed in Bermuda. And we've tried to give this platform to as many people who have had businesses that have been harmed to see how they can help themselves and help their businesses during this time. What advice would you give someone just starting and they're struggling? What I've tried to say, and I'm no expert, I don't have the level of experience as you in understanding, but I've just said, the key word being thrown around these days on LinkedIn, especially, is pivot, right? But what would you tell them from your position?
So you don't have to do it alone. There are organizations out there like the BEDC, like Ignite. Not everyone comes hardwired to run, start, or start a business. So places like Ignite and BEDC will help you develop those skills that you need to make sure your business is going to be a success. And so please take advantage of them. Not only do they have resources or finances, they have classes, they have the support groups, they have the experts on the other side of the phone or the computer to help you. Secondly is understand your industry, who your competitors are, what it is that people like about your product, or service, and what it is that you are meant to be doing, and focus on that. And stay on top of your game. The internet today is filled with people sharing, teaching, learning. Stay on top. I mean, don't spend all of your time looking at the I'm going to call it the social stuff. But I also want to go back to, there was a McKinsey report on what are the jobs that are not likely to exist in the future. Google that, look that up. Make sure that if you are currently in one of those industries and you're a young person, then now would be a time to start thinking about what your pivot might be and using those transferable skills. Secondly, the Chamber is a great resource for people in the same industry as you. So that's where groups of people in the same business get together and figure out what do they need to happen in their industry to give them the best chance of success. So even though they may be competitors, they work collectively to make sure that the rules, the laws, the taxes that are applicable to them are fair, and that they enable that business to actually operate in the current environment. So make sure you're part of a group that supports you.
Indeed, indeed. Ms. Kendaree Burgess, the Chief Executive Officer of the Bermuda Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for doing this. I know I've asked you and hounded you, and I really definitely, our doors open should you or any of your members want to come by and have a conversation with our audience. The information is just needed. So please know you have my email. Just reach out if we can be of any assistance to you going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Have a great morning, everybody. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Awesome right there. Wow. Oh, we had some more questions. I didn't see this. Connect says, how do the Chamber and BDC work together? Do they? What about with the Corporation of Hamilton? Sorry we didn't get to that, but we will have her back. Rick Olson says, what can the city of Hamilton do to be relevant again day and night? The loss of cruise ships years ago changed the dynamics years ago. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I did not see the questions, but definitely what we can do is we can send her these questions and we can get the responses, and we will read them on air for you tomorrow or when we get responses. But I'll definitely say, in reference, because they both mentioned the city of Hamilton, what I have not done is given major props to the city of Hamilton and their entire team. I had not seen people on social media speak so highly of a local event put on by locals in Bermuda, the way they spoke about that recent event that the city of Hamilton.
The food tasting.
Yeah.
The reviews, I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I saw so many raves about that.
Yeah, seriously, to Jessica and Sadea and the entire team over at the Corporation of Hamilton that put that on. Like, it, congrats and keep going, because as someone said to me, what you delivered is what people expect of the Bermuda Tourism Authority. That's just real. But no, thanks again to Ms. Burgess for coming on, having that conversation and sharing that. And I just want people to understand there's a consistent message here. There's a consistent message from all of our guests that come on regarding what we can do to help ourselves. And I just hope that we all take that. People have come on and mentioned that, we're not all entrepreneurs. We're not all in spaces where we can manage and be businesses, but that's where collaboration comes in. Your skills can match another person's skill and you can create something special. So I really, really hope that everyone who if you lost a job or your job situation has changed, your pay has been cut and you need to make up in some ways, find a way. There's a lot of opportunities. And I encourage people. I always talk about LinkedIn, but just read different articles on LinkedIn. It's a wealth of knowledge. Some of my friends share YouTube videos. Dr. Soul is one of the most recent ones. Like, look at some of the educators and people with great knowledge on how to deal with these situations. See how they've benefited with things that they suggest. So there's various ways you can do it.
Can I give a tip to creatives, Mal? I used to hear about this site, Fiverr, and I thought it was like a hoax because it says everything $5, and it's really not. But there are so many creatives on there who have tons of work, and I've used Fiverr as a service. So register. I have a friend that does a podcast in Bermuda, and her editor's in Africa. So put your services out there. You just never know, guys.
Yeah, that is great. She mentioned Fiverr because Paul Carrick Brunson used to always mention Fiverr. Like, hey, if you have any skill, go on Fiverr, put yourself out there. So Carl is absolutely right. I think this goes back to something that I'm always saying as well. Grow beyond your environment. So if you're in Bermuda, think bigger than Bermuda. Grow beyond your environment in order to achieve the success that you believe that you deserve. It's imperative to your growth. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with a little trivia for the pollster.
I'm ready.
Medical House presents The Daily Hour, Bermuda's most viewed and listened to talk show. Join the crew live weekdays at noon in the UK, 8 a.m. in Bermuda, and 7 a.m. U.S. Eastern Standard Time as they host experts to discuss various hot topics of the day. The Daily Hour is engaging.
What you do is you stand there and you look confused, and they say, you want to play? And you're like,
Entertaining.
What the?
Informative.
Having a growth mindset means that you're open to feedback. You're open to continuously learning.
And everything else you didn't know you needed.
Hello, it's me. I've been wondering.
What are you laughing at, Carla?
Because every time I see that promo and I forget that singing part's coming and then you do the cat sound, it just gives me giggles every time. It gives me life.
What a day to play that promo. It is singing day. But just want to revisit what we discussed before Miss Kendaree Burgess came on. Thanks again to Miss Burgess. Thanks again to Lindo's and Medical House, as well as Crimson Multimedia Channel 82 for making this available. Real quickly, so, Nana, I got some criticism from Nana yesterday. So Nana, I got a message. Nana says, she is watching on Channel 82. Jamal says, I'm a lot. And so, folks, I've got some work to do. Nana has dementia, right? So, she that doesn't take away her ability to make sure that I'm speaking right and making her proud. So now I'll be working on it. Don't worry.
I do media training as well. So if you want to hire me, Jamal, I'm your girl.
I'm good. I'll go on Fiverr.com. You told me about it, right? This what he's saying that was so funny. What he talking about? You singing? Oh, I mean, is that a compliment for you, Carla? That it was funny?
I will take that as a compliment. Thank you, Robert.
All right, no singing today though. But get to the point of the show earlier. I really would love to see people get not just be prepared, but expand on what they can do. Expand on what they can do. And I remember saying some episodes previously that it can simply be following the right businesses, organizations, or people on social media that inspire you. Simple things like that. And someone that's been successful in doing a career that you're interested in, they may show their schedule. Oh, my schedule, I wake up 4 a.m. This is what I do. I meditate for 10 minutes. Then I do this, then I do that. And they end their day with a meal at 6, and then they're asleep by 8 o'clock. Simple stuff like that can probably change your life. So I'd encourage people to do those kinds of things. So are you ready, Carla, for today's Daily Play?
Yep, I was born ready.
Oh my, here we go. Help her out, folks. Here we go. Quote, the song lyrics for today. Don't let me be alone. It's tearing apart my blue heart.
Don't let me be alone. It's tearing apart my... So it's a heartbreak song. Blue heart. Don't let me be alone. And you said it's easy. You always say it's easy. But I told you I don't process like that. I'm rhythmic. So I need to hear it and feel it in order to know it. I don't know. Break my heart, Tony Braxton.
Help her out, folks. Help her out. This is what I'm going to tell you what happens when people don't guess it right away. They take the lyrics, they Google them, and then they come back and give you the answer and act like, Carla didn't know. Here it is. Quote, don't let me be alone. It's tearing apart my blue heart.
It's not Tony Braxton?
Nope. Far off.
Just give me a hint. Is it a male or female? In case Oh, really? UB40?
Red
wine. So what part's that?
It's right after the second red wine.
To me. Oh, I know. I've heard just now. Dun, 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 dun. It's in that part. See, I tell you I'm rhythmic. It's in that part. I got it. All right, Robert, teamwork.
I'm gonna definitely have to get the cut sound in the radio board so that I don't have to make it every time. But since Carla didn't get it today, look, you can get it every day, Carla. You've done well lately. You've done well.
I tried.
Look, Robert C. has an honest one. He said, I had some help with Google. See, I knew
you pick such random parts of a song, like who knows all the way in there. But then I'm humming.
What was that? Oh my! But if I give you any easier part, you'll get the answer right off. I mean, you've done
a good sport.
You've done pretty well.
It's all right.
All right. So tomorrow we have Talent Clark. He has a business in Bermuda, the Jeep truck things. He does that, so it's a tourist related business. So we're going to talk about it with Mr. Clark about the red tape that people starting new businesses, that some of the red tape they may have to go through, how his business has been impacted by the lack of tourists, as well as There I go, Nana. As well as how he's been able to pivot since there's been a lack of tourists coming to Bermuda. But don't forget a big one for you on Friday, as we have the head of the civil service, Dr. Derek Binge, joining us. So get your questions ready. If you ever had any questions about the public, now known as the public service, civil service, you can feel free to ask. I expect that to be a very busy show, so I'll ask people to keep their questions short, prepare them now. You know what you want to ask, and then we'll rock and roll with that on Friday. Carla, do you have any inspiration for us today?
I do, you know.
Oh, I wonder what it is.
In a gentle way, you can shake the world. Mahatma Gandhi.
In a gentle way, you can shake the world.
Shake.
Yeah, that's what didn't I say shake?
Okay, just making sure.
Oh, I didn't say shake or anything. Any final words?
Just sending all my love to Jackie, and as well as Cheval's still missing.
Yeah, she is. How long's it been? 7 months now, right?
Just about.
You know, I know they have someone arrested for the recent murder of the young lady, Miss Ken, and hopefully it's the right person. Hopefully there's a conviction. I say it all the time. It's not just about having people arrested. We see that happen in the U.S. a lot with people who gun down people, and then they go to court, and then you see what happens. They got off. So let's hope justice is served in all cases where this kind of thing has happened. I'm sad to see. Thank you to everyone who continues to contribute. I want to go back to Dr. David Chapman again. Yesterday, I just want people to understand the lesson in that, the lesson that came from Dr. David Chapman in ensuring that he shared information. And the same way that we share, you share information with us, we share information with you. The more we share good information, the more of us are likely to succeed. So that's a perfect example of how we can help one another and grow together. Another thing, if you haven't already, download the Full 100 Radio app. There's a lot of good new R&B music. And if you're not familiar with the kind of station it is, it's an adult contemporary R&B. So if you've ever listened to WBLS in New York, that's the kind of music. But there's some new good music from John Legend, Alicia Keys, and The Weeknd? Carla?
Yes.
The Weeknd, boy, he's probably one of the artists of the decade, boy.
I can feel my face when I'm with you.
I'm glad you sang that one, because I thought you was going to sing the other one. That's just too nasty for But don't forget, again, folks, tomorrow we'll have Talent Clark. Friday, we have the head of the public service. And then as we head into November, we have some good shows focusing on, we have the people to talk about World Stroke Day next week as well. If you or anyone you know thinks you'll make a great guest on this program, you can feel free to reach out to us on engage@thedailyhour.com. And if any of you or someone that we may have a great partner for us, want to sponsor or advertise, you can also reach out, engage@thedailyhour.com. On that note, you know what? We hate to do this. We really do. We appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. But we gotta go. We got to go. So if all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. It is, tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, we'll be back.
Thanks for tuning in to The Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House. All recorded episodes and highlights can be found at thedailyhour.com. Stay connected with us by following us at The Daily Hour on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.